Welcome to Coffee Connect. I'm Roddy. I'm the host here, guys. We've got some amazing information to share today. This has been a topic that we've kind of visited a few times throughout this year, but I'm excited for the person that's going to share with us today and present to us. But I do encourage you, like, if you enjoy the conversation, you enjoy being part of the group, do me a favor, shoot me an email at ccinfo@addictedtoconnecting.com. I'm happy to get you onto the email list so you can continue to get the upcoming topics for the following weeks. And then, as always, guys, we record the sessions and we post them to the Coffee Connect and the Grind YouTube channel. And you can always get a link to that YouTube channel through the webpage at www.addictedtoconnecting.com. And so I'll tell you, as many people that come here, about a year ago, I think Michael and I got connected through another connection, which many of you guys know, Kyle McIntosh, right? And Kyle introduced us. And so this is actually Michael's return presence to Coffee Connect because he was here. He landed for a little while and then realized that that wasn't where he wanted to be anyway. And so he's back again in search mode. And more importantly, I think his mind has expanded into other areas of his life and things that he wants to do. He's going to have some great asks for you later on today. And I hope many of you take advantage of trying to get with Michael and helping him in his ventures. Here today, guys, different minds, stronger science, right? Michael, if you have not talked to him one-on-one, right? You may not realize that he has a different mind. He has a different way of looking at things and a different way of putting the puzzle pieces together, right, and coming to solutions and stuff. And so excited that he's here to share with us not only his knowledge and understanding of this, right, but his experiences that he's had over the time. Without any further ado, give it up for Michael Wilhide.
Thank you, everyone. Good morning. Let me share my screen. Can everybody see my presentation?
It's coming. There it is.
Okay, let me put it on. Okay, now is it up there?
There we go.
Yes.
There we go.
Okay, cool. So my topic this morning will be different minds, stronger science, how neurodiversity shapes innovation. So I know some of you know me, some of you might don't know my background, so I'm gonna go over my background quickly. So I have a master's degree in molecular, cellular, and biochemical pharmacology from University of Cincinnati. I just recently became board certified as a technologist in molecular biology from ASCP. I've been doing research, both academic, hospitals, industry, and clinical laboratories such as Amazon DX and COVID for over 20 years. I was born and raised for most of my life in Cincinnati, and of course, I'm a Cincinnati Reds fan and a Bengals fan. So, but most of you might not know that I am neurodivergent. I was diagnosed with ADHD as a young child. I had dyslexia or learning disability, which where you get you misspell words in the center of the words and you kind of fit the two letters. And then, of course, most people know they can tell I have a speech impairment. But most of my superpowers with ADHD and my neurodiversity traits are strong problem-solving skills, imagination, and being very creative. I have a sense of compassion for others. I have the willingness not to give up and keep focusing on achieving my goals in life. A lot of people tell me I have a very good memory. I have a very strong ethics and morals that I live by in my life. I very attention to details. I can find the real attention to details and to the big picture and look at the small details into that big picture. And with ADHD, it's easy for me to get distracted every time. But when I find something that I enjoy doing, I can get lost for hours in it. And of course, as you can probably tell, I'm full of energy. So I don't know how many of you guys know the terms neurodivergent and neurodiversity. Does anyone understand those terms? Okay, I see Joe does. So usually people always get these two terms backwards most of the time. So neurodivergent is individuals like me who have a mind or a brain that is different from what is typical or was considered normal in our society. It's most of the time it's genetics related with a small environmental factors. Neurodivergence means having a mind that functions differently compared to the normal learning process. Like I learn different from maybe from Ronnie or Joe or Jim or Joy or Brian. And neurodiversity refers to the natural diversity of human minds. So it's a biological fact that every mind is unique differently. Like we all have different ethics. We have males, we have females. And so neurodiversity is composed of different traits or conditions, you can call them. Some of them is dyslexia, which I call as a learning disability. We have a developmental language disorder. We have autism, which has been in the news a lot lately, ADHD, and there's a couple other ones I've shown in the umbrella. So I would love to have everyone to take a picture of this and take a screenshot. And then we're going to break out into breakout rooms for 5 to 8 minutes. And I want, when you come back from the breakout rooms, I would love to hear what each person talk about in the small group breakout rooms of what they see in this image. So can you please take a picture of it and or a screenshot so we can talk about it in the small breakout rooms?
Perfect. Give me a second here. I'm taking a
Okay.
screenshot too. All right, I've got them opened up, guys. We're going to go for about 8 minutes. I will see you guys back here shortly. Please introduce yourself to news folks and you know, see what the perspectives are on the photo that Michael shared here.
Okay, break room. Oh, did I just join anyone then?
Yeah, you can join anyone, Michael. Jeff,
I guess
you should be in the same position.
I try. I guess I'll go 1-1 with my sister-in-law. Stop and join. Is
If you
that
go
right?
to more and go to breakout,
There he is. Wait, how do you have two pictures? This isn't fair.
who's got two pictures?
Jonathan Gray, he had two shots up.
He still does. He's on his phone and his computer.
Phone and computer. Yeah, there you go.
He gets
Wow,
a job
where's
with
that?
TNG and now he's a showboat.
There we go. Yeah, I was coming from my car to my office, so.
It's all you, Michael.
Okay, I guess I need to share my screen again. Okay. How about I share my screen again? Okay. Oops.
You gotta
Can
go
you
up to
guys-
the top.
Same way you did the first time.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Green button says share.
Everybody
Present.
share.
Mouse over the bar at the bottom, and there's a little
And right
green
now I
button
just have the
share.
big PowerPoint presentation up. So let me go back to my screen. Okay, chill. Okay. Okay, now I got it. Now it should be up there.
It's
Let me put
working.
it-
Now
It's
it's there.
thinking.
Cool.
Now we see it.
Okay, good. Okay, so I was in one of the breakout rooms and everybody had some interesting viewpoints. So I'd like to hear what everyone saw and what everyone talked about.
We saw two things. One is if you look like kind of in the foreground, you see an outline of a man's face. Could be Shakespeare, could be Washington on the dollar bill, whatever you want to make it. And then if you kind of look a little deeper, there's like a looks like a lady walking through a woods with maybe like a university in the background or something like that.
Mhm.
That's interesting because that's what the people said in the room. I think it was Darcy said that you see a face depends on the angle. Is that correct? I think.
Yeah, the angle and the size. So I moved it to my laptop monitor, and the further away I got, the more prominent the face was, as opposed to the image of the person walking through the park area, which by the way is like a cobblestone square is what I'm picking up on.
Yeah.
What I asked at the end in our session is there a third image that we just missed? And I said, like, is there a boat in the background or something where that, I'm just not seeing anything? And it was like, I mean, I saw two distinct things. Is there supposed to be a third, or is that or is the two kind of where the limit is, or can you, and like, is the tree a tornado or something and I'm just missing it, or?
Well,
I'm not seeing that, but I'm just kind of saying, is there something else, or is there supposed to be something else that
we
Yeah,
found
in
about
our
5.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you look
Mhm.
at the tree, in the tree, you'll see a feather.
Yeah.
Yep.
There's a
Toward the
cat
bottom on the
face
left.
too.
Mhm.
We
Okay,
thought that
now-
was a crustacean.
Yeah, initially we looked at, hey, we've got these big images like Joe, and then we're like you point out, but then we started looking at some of the details and stuff, and we found the feather, we found the cat face, we found an outline of another animal that we couldn't find on the left-hand side, or we couldn't figure out exactly what it was, but you can kind of see like an eye and an outline of the face and stuff. And then the one I love the most, Mary, right? Mary found a pineapple.
The bottom right.
I see that. Is it the bottom right?
Yeah.
It's like one of those old highlights.
it's a
pictures.
big
I realize I'm
cocoon.
dating myself there, but
Mhm.
That's what's even crazier is when someone says there's a pineapple, and then all of a sudden everybody sees it.
Mhm.
Well, I had shared with our group, and I totally made this up, but where the images of the person walking in the park, I picked up on a sailing boat with the white sails and like a storm cloud over the top of the sail.
Interesting.
Where
I
was
don't know
that?
what I had for breakfast, but
Okay.
that one kind of
Between the
jumped out.
woman and the tree.
Yeah, exactly.
is marijuana legal where you live?
We saw riding a horse or
Yeah,
something.
just below the
Didn't-
sails, just in that area. Yeah.
The horse is below the sails? What?
Well, the eyeball of the main face or whatever.
Yeah.
The right eyeball right below that.
Okay.
And then the sail is kind of in between to the right of it. All sorts of stuff, all sorts of details.
Yeah, it looks like there's a canoe or something towards.
It'd be helpful
left
if you
there.
could circle all these things for us.
Yeah.
Lamar, it's like an old highlights picture.
Yes. Highlights. Yep.
What was that?
Highlights used to be a
I'm
kid's
kidding,
magazine.
man.
Used to have them in the dentist office a lot, or doctor's
Rodney's
office.
not that young.
None of us are.
No, I had a subscription to highlights. I know exactly what it was.
Oh, I remember that as a kid.
Oh yeah.
Jonathan might
Yeah.
be younger.
No, I unfortunately had highlights as well.
We
Jeff
had that
B?
for our kids here, certainly.
So fortunately, you had highlights as well.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
And I got highlights for my grandkids, so I got double dose.
That's right.
I see the canoe now.
I like how it's kind of like when we were younger and we go look at clouds and you'd be
Yeah.
like, oh, I see a duck, and as it changed, it became a castle or it became this and that. And that's really what this kind of is like. And I mean, I'm not saying what you guys saw is fake or not there, but different people are seeing different things just because of their perspectives.
The main point I was going to bring up. So this is what I saw. I saw only a single eye looking at me. I know my wife, I showed this to my wife last night. She told me she saw a face with 2 eyes. Ronnie, yesterday when we practiced, said he saw a face. They see the what I call the wizard hat, a nose. The tree stump looked like a mouth, which I disagree. I thought it looked like a tree stump with the wizard hat. My wife thought that their trees might be at the person's heel, which I don't know how she came up with that. The what I saw was a wizard hat. I saw a big tree. I saw a small tree. I see grass with a bush. I see homes and buildings in the background. And I see a whole bunch of ground cover plants on the ground.
Yeah.
But to me, as a scientist, which I don't think anybody will agree with me on this one. It looks like a bunch of cells on the cell culture plate under the microscope. And I mean, I do see the feather in the tree that someone mentioned. I see that right now. So the whole point was that exercise was the beauty of many viewpoints. As you can see, everybody had a unique perspective and viewpoints of that picture. So the human brain is as diverse as a human fingerprint. So one person's brain is not going to be similar to Mary's or Joy's or Jonathan's or Ronnie's brain or my brain. So there's as many atoms in a single molecule of your DNA, which is trillions and trillions of molecules. There are as much as those as in the stars in the typical galaxy. So the most important thing to remember is that each of us is our own little universe, that we all uniquely different, we all think different from each other. So now I'd like to ask if anybody can give me a good guess. What is the percentage of lab and scientific employees that's identified as neurodivergent? So give you a little hint. When I was at Amazon DX and when I was at UC, I know a couple people that will neurodivergent too, along with me, that has ADHD, learning disability, or some other type of neurodivergent trait. So can anyone give me a guess what they think the percent would be?
70%.
70%. Wow, okay.
I was guessing 30%.
Okay, good.
I'll say 15.
15, they're low, okay.
25.
25. Russ, and Russ? Nope. So the person who said about 50% was white. So the 2024 survey of 241 lab and scientific workplace employees, 48% of them was identified as being neurodivergent. I know, Joe, you said 15%, so I'm assuming you are kind of surprised how high the number is. I know someone said 75%, which to me, I thought it would be about 50 to 70% personally, based on my personal experience in the research lab. Is anyone surprised by it being only 48%? And why?
I will say that I've worked with a lot of pathologists in my career, and I think they're almost like 90% neurodivergent.
Awesome.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Are they identify themselves or they have been diagnosed? Because identified, because I know people will joke around about being ADD because they're distracted or whatever, but there's people in that category I know who aren't. It's like they're real callous about, yeah, I'm ADD, blah, blah, blah. Well, have you actually gone and tried to get it, or is it just kind of a cop out for some people? And I'm not putting it down because I've actually been diagnosed, big surprise. But I know some people who haven't, and they just say it as it's almost like a joke.
And most people, like I was diagnosed when I was young, as a young child. So I was one of the few lucky ones. And I know a lot of adults that didn't been diagnosed until later on in life because they thought they had it, but they never been diagnosed officially to the doctor. And I'm assuming it's because more people are being diagnosed with it now because more people are becoming more aware of the neurodivergent traits. That this is a real condition. This is something that there's a lot more research and is known about now than it was 20 or 30 years ago, or 40 years ago, 30 or 40 years ago when I was diagnosed. But has anyone ever worked with anyone who is neurodivergent? How many of you guys have worked with someone who is neurodivergent?
I
Quite a few of us are shaking our heads, man.
I honestly don't know. No one's like ever told me that they were. And Michael, there was a thing, I think you know Sammy Kelly.
Yeah,
She spoke to this group about 2 months ago, and she kind of said some things like if you can do A or B or C or D or E, you know, you might be neurodivergent. And I kind of waited till the end, and I talked with her afterwards. I said, Sammy, I said, I said, in my job, I did like B and E that you reference a lot, but I said, I never, you know, and she was like, if you can focus on something for like 3 hours straight, that can be, and you had in your opening, like you get laser focused on something, that can be considered neurodivergent. And it's like, I've never been diagnosed as such, but as a data analyst, there'd be times I'd have to, you know, look at a report or look at a data set or something like that for a long period of time. And, you know, it's like I started after lunch and I'd look up and, you know, I'd started at 1 o'clock and I'd look up and it'd be 4:30 and I was still doing the same thing. And she said, if you can laser focus like that, that in some cases can be considered neurodivergent. But
I get lost.
I never considered myself as such, or I never had myself diagnosed as such.
I think I was diagnosed early because I had some type of test or something, and that's how I pick up. I recall right. And I was diagnosed as I think I was 8 years old or something. So I'm not going to age myself, but that's I'm surprised.
Usually it's when you can't focus on something for more than 5 minutes that they try to diagnose you with ADHD.
Right.
That's but if you can work on something for 3 hours, they kind of leave you alone and say, okay, you know, work on that. So
yeah, and sometimes I'd be lost in the lab focusing on something, and I'm like, oh shoot, it's always 4 o'clock. I forgot to take lunch or something. Oh, sometimes I'd get so distracted, like every little thing that would distract me too. So it's real kind of traits being a neurodivergent individual. But it's not surprising some of you guys think you might have neurodivergent traits because autism spectrum disorder, 2.8% of all American adults have been diagnosed with ASD. 4.6% of the people have ADHD, like me, which I think is a lot higher by now, I'm assuming.
What is ASD?
Autism spectrum disorder.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And it's dyslexia, which I call learning disability. To me, that's my learning disability. Between 3 and 7% of Americans have it.
I have 2 cousins that have that.
Yeah. Is anyone surprised about these statistics? Do you think it's too low or you think they're too high, and why?
I think it's too low from people I know. I mean, I have people in my family somewhere within this. I worked for engineers, very prevalent. My husband works in tech. He can point out how many people in tech are on the spectrum. It seems low to me.
So
it says whether or not they're diagnosed, but it's to
yeah,
me it's very obvious.
I agree with that, Shirley. And I was sharing with Michael yesterday. I said in the Navy, in the nuclear world, right, I would think that we probably had quite a few young men and young women that maybe they were diagnosed at one point or maybe they weren't diagnosed, right? But the reality is in the military, if you were coming into those careers, if you were on Adderall, Ritalin, or any of those things, you were disqualified from the programs, right? And so they would have to stay off of their meds for a year before they would allow them to come into the military, right? Well, the reality is if we go to sea, there's no guarantee that we can get them their prescriptions and stuff filled the way we need to, right? And so they would have to be proven that they've established the means of coping without meds, right, before we would allow them to come in, right? And so there may be a lot of people out there that have that same fear that it would be hurtful to their careers or whatever else, right, if they were diagnosed, and that's why I think they're so low, right? The numbers are so low.
Hey,
You hit on
Rodney,
a good point, Rodney.
Well, that's the same like if you're a type 1 diabetic, right,
Yeah,
with the
yeah.
military, because you don't know if you can get meds, and I understand that if you're shooting people, then maybe the military should keep up their standard or whatever.
But I'm sure it's not just the military. I'm sure there are other careers that are the same way, right? I mean that, we can go commercial nuclear power plants. You live on shore, but do we want someone that possibly has counter effects to their medications or whatever, right? Operating in areas like that, right? And that's why I think most people just go, well, I'm not going to get diagnosed, or I'm not going to get treated, or whatever else it is.
Warren, they learn to overcompensate. I had a friend
For sure.
who was an education major, and the way she got through college, it was probably ADHD, is she only read the first sentence of every paragraph in books to get through college. I don't know how she did it, and it would take her hours. You know, I think of things like that. So you get used to, until you hit a wall, you know, how you can maneuver your way around and compensate.
Yeah.
Awesome. Great viewpoints. So, as I mentioned earlier, so this is something that is not new. No diversity, no divergent traits has been around since many decades. And even some of the great scientists, like Albert Einstein, who's actually one of the, I consider as the best scientist ever in my eyes, and one I looked up to him when I was in college and undergraduate, doing my biology major. I had a poster of him in my dorm room just to keep me motivated to keep studying and knowing I can overcome my learning disability and my ADHD, that I can become a scientist. Even if I'm struggling, it's just going to take a lot of hard work. So he had dyslexia and ADHD. He had a lot of issues with school, unfortunately. Nikola Tesla, another great scientist, an inventor, had ADHD and started to have OCD. Thomas Edison, one of the best inventors, thanks to electric and all other great stuff he has done, he had a learning disability. So Isaac Newton, which we still use as everyday's life, of the gravity laws that he developed. So he had ADHD, or has been estimated that he might be autistic. So is anyone surprised by how some of the most famous scientists have neurodivergent traits? Nope.
That like Tesla would have OCD is obsessive compulsive, right?
Yep.
Yes, correct.
That would not surprise me, because that kind of more sounds like what Sammy was telling me. Like, if you can look at a data set for 3+ hours and not have to get up and even use the restroom, you might have OCD. And so I could understand that if I tested, I might end up on that. I might end up on that end of the spectrum.
Yeah, maybe
That
you should.
one especially doesn't shock me.
And I'm not surprised either, because like I know a lot of people now, even some of the neuroscientists that won Nobel Prizes, come out saying that they know divergent and they have ADHD or learning disability or some level autism too. So I'm not surprised that, I guess you could say it's something in our genes. Of being a neurodivergent person, it must be something in our genes that makes us become scientists. So neurodivergent scientist superpower. So we were talking about how Albert Einstein and some of the greats have you struggle with the disability, but they overcome it by using the superpowers. So as a neurodivergent person or a scientist, we have our superpowers that people may not become aware of, such as we have the enhanced pattern recognition. We can figure out the logical and analytical patterns of data. Like hyperfocus, like Joe was saying, you can focus for 3 or 4 hours at a time on a data set. It may be OCD or have the neurodivergent trait in you. We are innovate thinkers. We always thinking of ways to improve things. We always want to know why things work this way. We want to know how we can improve things. we question a lot of things in the world, and we want answers. We have a great memory. We have this logical reason. We have very creative. As scientists, you always have to think outside of the box on experiments. Sometimes experiments don't work, so you have to come up with creative ways, figure out what went wrong, how I can control these variables. As most people can tell, and most of them, like me, are high energy and drive. You have this driven attitude that we're not going to give up until we hit our goals. Some of them are risk takers. I don't consider myself as a big risk taker. Maybe I am, but I don't think I am. A lot of neurodivergent people I've been into seem like they have random facts that they will tell you just randomly, and it just surprises me. And they are a big picture thinker. So they look at the big picture and then they analyze and break down the real picture of the real details in that picture. So is anyone surprised by any of these superpowers?
No.
No.
If you'll allow me a joke, Michael.
Yeah.
Nope, we don't have time for jokes.
My mother said I was good with pictures. She thought I was spatial.
You are special. Everyone is special.
Spatial.
Oh, spatial. I thought you said special. So must be my ADHD. Just assuming something. So I don't know how many of you know this fact, but October has been the National Disability Employment Awareness Month since 1998. To be honest, I didn't know about this until a few months ago. I went into it online. I'm just doing a Google search. So did anyone knew about this until now?
No.
I didn't.
I guess not many people. I ain't either. There's something that I'm trying to promote more of throughout on LinkedIn. Like every Wednesday this month, I've been posting a quote and trying to raise awareness on National Disability Employment Awareness Month. Because I have a feeling most people didn't know. I'm neurodivergent. I didn't even know it even exists until recently. So this brings up the reason why it's so important. Because 30 to 40% of the autistic adults are unemployed. And I'm assuming they include people with ADHD, learning disability, and some of the other neurodivergent traits. But they were just saying in the article I was reading, it was just, they call everything autistic. And most of the general population is 45% unemployed. So you can see that there's a huge increase of unemployed neurodivergent people right now. The problem is many of those neurodivergent individuals are underemployed and was below the education and skill level. And I was one of them. So what is the bills preventing autistic or neurodiversity people being employed? 85% of the jobs are thought to be through networking, which of course, Traffic Connect, Northern Kentucky Accountability Group, the Job Search Focus Group, all focus on how important it's a network. But the problem with networking for people like me who are neurodivergent is it's difficult. I'm an introvert too. So it's difficult for me to come out of my shell unless I know someone or I feel comfortable speaking to that person, then I can come out of my real shell. And I can be surprising to some people. But as a neurodivergent person, when I'm talking to other people, I can tell that they are not listening to what I'm saying. They're too busy focusing their mind. Why is this person talking quickly? Why is this person not pronouncing words right? Instead of focusing on my skills or the other person's skills. And this brings me up to hiring practices. So unstructured interview, like when I go through interviews, I prep for hours and hours getting ready for my interviews. I do mock interviews with people. I just did one with Jonathan that's on the call today. I did one couple with the career coaches from Northern Kentucky Accountability Group. To me, interviews are nerve-wracking. And I think it's nerve-wracking for most people, but especially for neurodivergent individuals. like me, I'm like, okay, what questions they going to ask? I think of like tons of questions constantly, thinking of what they're going to ask me. And then another problem is when you go through this interviews, is the hiring manager or the recruiter understanding what we are saying? And do they understand our highly skilled traits, or they too busy focusing on our disability? Does anyone have any opinions on this?
Michael,
Yeah.
because of time limitations, I would encourage you to go to your the
Okay.
final breakout piece of this, and so we can kind of explore action things that we might be able to take.
Okay, cool. So I just want to present some facts quickly. So 40 to 50% of PhD scientists leave academic because there's no clear path for them. There's no clear guidance. And that's the problem with scientists in both academic and industry. There's this lack of support, lack of understanding who they are. And actually, the most important thing for businesses to know, companies with more inclusive cultures are 1.7 times more likely to be innovation leaders. And employees who embrace neurodiversity see improvements in productivity, retention, and employees' engagement. So this brings me up to our next question, like Ronnie suggests, for the breakout room. So feel free to take a screenshot or a picture of this. What steps can organizations do to capitalize on the superpower of neurodiversity?
Admittedly, I didn't make the connection. I didn't see the same last name, Will Hyde, so I was late to that party, but cool that the family's here to support.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was unmuted. No, he did not pay me, but I saw his link. I saw his post on LinkedIn, and of course I wanted to join.
Yeah. Good deal. Go ahead, Michael. Finish this up, man. Wrap us up, dude.
You're on mute.
You're muted.
You're on mute, Michael, but take us home.
That's the setting that I have. I'm sorry. You're muted.
Rodney's waving you home.
You got to uncheck the microphone on the menu bar.
You're muted.
The one that no one can hear me.
There we go.
What did everyone come up with? Any good suggestions? Here's some of my suggestions I came up with. Let me know if anyone agrees or they have some other suggestions that are different from what I'm proposing based on some of the research based on online, what they did. So most important thing for companies to do is to educate their employees about neurodivergent, about the culture of continuing learning and development. As a neurodivergent person, and I know many of them, like me, are active learners. We always need to learn constantly. We get bored easily if we're not learning something new. Companies can partner with a third party who has expertise in neurodiversity, such as Sammy Kelly, Beyond Neurodiversity, or whatever her company is called, that raises awareness about neurodiversity and what they can do to track those employees, how to keep them happy and make them be successful based on the traits they have. They can build more awareness. I don't think most organizations know anything about neurodiversity. Where I've been, they feel, except for maybe Amazon, DX, talks about neurodiversity and knows about it. They can adopt inclusive and universal communication practice. One of the biggest things to me is communication. I'm big on open, honest communication. If you don't communicate with me, how can I know what you're doing, what you want me to do? It's hard for me to read body language, so verbally tell me or written on what you want me to do and let me do what I need to do. It's just technologies. Some people need headphones. Some people need a quiet room with low lights. Some people might need one where they need to stay away from people for a couple minutes. Maybe they should do like a pilot initiative where they figure out what resources works best for who, which neurodiversity people can use to help them. They can have someone who's an advocate. I would love to have someone in some of my previous organizations where I know I can go and address my concerns or my issues with what's going on, or someone who knows where I'm coming from, knows my disability, knows what I need for my support. Managers and supervisors need to be trained. Most of my managers and supervisors never worked with people with neurodiversity. Some of them did, most of them didn't. They need to redesign recruitment and hiring, make the hiring process easier for people with neurodivergent traits, make it more comfortable for them, find a way to teach hiring managers to understand, to look at the skill set and not judge them quickly based on the disability. Special accommodations. Like while I was in graduate school, I had a laptop that I used for my lab notebook. So I can go back and use the spell checker and the grammar check everything. So anyone else can think of any other steps that organizations can do to support neurodivergent people?
Can I say something?
Yeah.
I think your 2 points about managers and hiring are very crucial. I've had multiple managers over my career, and I would only say maybe 3 out of all of them are really good managers that have compassion, that have understanding, that aren't just trying to have buddies. You know, they're really trying to build a team and understanding who their team is. I was a manager briefly, and supposedly I'm an empath when I took the Briggs-Myers, and I think I have empathy for people where a lot of managers just don't. And I think training the managers, and actually, if they can't, they need to pass a test, honestly, to be a manager, to understand how to work with people.
I completely agree. I had maybe very few good managers. A lot of them had no compassion, no empathy, no lack of communication skills. They lack a lot of stuff. And I'm saying, like, when I was a manager and supervising and mentoring the younger scientists, I always tell them,
Yeah.
I care about you. I want, if something's wrong, let me know. I expect open, honest communication back and forth. Go ahead, Jeff. I see you have your hand raised.
Awesome. Thank you, Michael. This has been so
welcome.
fabulous. So first and foremost, what can organizations do? In a word, listen. It'd be great if they, for them to have a predetermined set of accommodations that they can provide as needed, but listen to neurodivergent people, hear their needs. It's possible something will be requested that they've never heard before, that they can at least consider. What if Jeff is asking for to be able to do his work in like a dark room, a stimulus-free room, or something. Just be open, listen, have an open mind, and don't make us feel bad. Don't make us feel what's the word, ostracized or anything like that. Just listen, and go from there.
I agree, Jeff. I mean, my time at Amazon DX, I mentioned right after my dad died that it'd be nice if they had like a special room where people can get away to de-stress and relax. So like a month later, they had a special room where people can go in to meditate, and they had different things to help people to de-stress, to relax their mind, a way for anyone who's neurodivergent to get away from the stress if they're emotionally upset by something. So I think you had a good point, Jeff. People, and then one of them came up to me and was like, that was a great idea. And I noticed everyone was starting using that room often. I didn't use that as much as I thought I should, fortunately. Ron is telling me hurry up. So
Let's keep it rolling. We're
this is my
following.
last slide besides my thank you and my contact information. So I had a goal in mind about 2 months ago, and to combine my passion for science and neurodiversity advocate, and came up with a business plan, which I put on the side for the last month or two, called Heal Evolve. So as a molecular biologist, I love DNA. So DNA is personal growth and basically one unique design, because as you can see, based on the picture exercise, everyone came up with all different viewpoints what they saw. And so Bob comes from single growth, means progression, personal development. So that's why I decided to come up with my logo and my name. And by the way, for this PowerPoint presentation, the colors and the font is what is actually recommended for people with neurodivergent traits to keep them more focused. And I didn't even know that until I did some research on how to make this a neurodivergent friendly PowerPoint slides. So I'd like to get some suggestions, what people think. What should I do to become a career coach? What advice does anyone have for me to kind of think about this idea that I want to do? I have a website. I bought the domain for 2 or 3 months ago, but I haven't done nothing with it. It just says coming soon. So I'm kind of like to get anyone who has time to kind of brainstorm some ideas. So I'd like to thank everyone, and I hope everyone had a great chance to learn more about me and learn more about you and learn how great people are with the diversity. Diversity is good. And everybody can work well having different viewpoints like we all saw today. So if anyone has any questions, suggestions, or would like to set up a time to talk to me in person, feel free to email me at michaelwilhite@gmail.com. And if we are not connected on LinkedIn, feel free to send me a LinkedIn request.